In 2023, Scream did something new, sort of. Maybe not. Oh, okay, yeah, they did. For the first time, no Sidney Prescott. There you go. Scream 6 is bigger, louder, bloodier. It has maybe the most aggressive ghost face in the franchise's history. It opens with one of the boldest structural twists in the series, one that I really enjoy. And yet, for a franchise built on commentary on horror rules, sequels, trilogies, remakes, requels, fandom, it feels strangely quiet.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? And spoiler alert, it never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
It's fun, it's energetic, it's slick, it's bloody. But what's it actually about? Let's get into it.
Fuck this franchise.
So moving the action to New York is a brilliant idea on paper. The film does feel at times geologically claustrophobic. Manhattan offers scale. Subways, bodegas, crowded streets, and a Ghostface shrine. So we got that going for us. As a big fan of Jason Takes Manhattan, I was excited to see Ghostface take a stab at the Big Apple. So the subway scene is chaotic. The ladder scene between the apartments is entertaining. The bodega shotgun moment is raw and brutal. Ghostface usually doesn't use guns until they reveal themselves, so this is a first if I'm not mistaken. This Ghostface feels different, more physical, more reckless, less theatrical. Scream has always thrived on intimacy, small-town paranoia, so in a massive city, it definitely changes the tone of the film.
We were just call 911.
There's a fucking line here, girl.
The mystery is broader, but at the same time, the movie's thinner. Let's start out with what I think works in this film. So the opening scene. Introducing Jason as a killer, then revealing his identity immediately. Killing him off minutes later is one of the most exciting structural swings in the franchise. Outside of the multiple fake-outs from Scream 4, of course. That's unbeatable. But it feels fresh, it feels dangerous, it feels like this could almost go somewhere really awesome.
I'm not mad, Jason.
Dude, we said we wouldn't use the voice on each other.
It's almost about to reinvent these movies. But when Jason is killed off along with his partner, what could have been something very interesting like the planned trilogy with Jill from Scream 4, where supposedly she was going to be successful in getting away with this. Sidney wouldn't realize that she's the killer, and she would be blackmailed by another Ghostface in Scream 5. The movie pivots back into a fairly regular Scream movie, but also I feel like it lacks some of the meta satire, and that's pretty obvious with the opening line of the movie.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
But this movie almost could have been something much more interesting, and I don't think it's bad the way it is. It's just kind of frustrating when you think about it. It also is one of the most violent films in the franchise, and I do like that. Scream 5 and 6 definitely upped the gore in a great way. I enjoy it. Stabbings are harsher, the kills linger. Ghostface does not hesitate here. But the violence doesn't feel consequential, you know what I mean? The core group is untouchable, and this is a bigger issue for some people than me, but mainly because I attribute it to Scream 1 through 4, how you have 3 central characters that don't die. As I hinted at before, another big issue is the missing meta-commentary in here. Now, there's a little bit of it trickled in.
But we're not in a sequel, because nobody just makes sequels anymore. We're in a franchise, and there are certain rules to a continuing franchise.
It gestures at franchise escalation, bigger kills, bigger stakes, bigger set pieces. But it's more of a production strategy than a thesis. There's meta-dialogue about surviving multiple sequels.
And rule 3, no one is safe. Legacy characters, cannon fodder at this point.
But it's just really muddy, you know what I mean? I feel like it's pretty clear what's happening in the other ones, and this is where it starts to just get really jumbled up. And this was my issue when they announced this movie. I said, this doesn't have a trend and something new to say. Scream 5 did. Scream 4 did. It had been a while. The original trilogy obviously had stuff to say. And I think you could have come up with something to say, maybe. And maybe they did and I missed it.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
Maybe everything I've kind of mentioned that they were saying that's meta, that was it.
Fuck this franchise.
And it's just a little bit lighter in this film. And I don't think this is an inherently bad movie. If this is the worst film in your franchise, of a slasher franchise, I think you're doing pretty well still. It's just that our expectations for Scream specifically have become so high. I do like seeing the Ghostface shrine. It is silly, but at the same time cool. All these props, every weapon from the past movies, you know. Thematically, it's just mostly decoration and oohs and ahs for us. In fact, this just kind of builds on what was happening in Scream 5 and Richie's character more than anybody's character in this film. But it ends up being the backdrop for the finale, which I guess that's cool. But that kind of sums up my feelings on this film. It has great visuals, but the depth is limited here.
Best Nightmare on Elm Street.
The original.
Best Friday the 13th.
Part
Final
2.
chapter.
I do appreciate the plot with Sam and her therapist. The way that's progressing, her relationship with her sister, fine. That's all not bad. The killer reveal in this one, if anything, it just calls back to Scream 2.
It's called a makeover. You should try it. Look a little tired yourself there, Gail.
What I'll say is this film does have meta moments and dialogue and thoughts, but it doesn't have a full thesis like I feel like the rest of the films potentially did. It plays on revenge just like Scream 2 with the previous killer's family coming after. And again, Kirby comes back in this movie. That's a big reason to like this movie.
Special Agent Kirby Reed, FBI. I work out of the Atlanta office.
You lost.
I like a lot of the characters, you know what I mean? I like a lot of the scenes, but let's be real. This also has more Ghost Billy, which...
Fuck no.
Fuck yes. Come on, Sam, you gotta be excited to get our murder on again.
If you saw my last video, was my biggest critique of Scream 5. I think if you take out those hallucinations, not the relationship with Billy Loomis necessarily, not even the fact that she is having hallucinations, but just showing it to us, the audience, I found wacky, and I don't enjoy it. And that isn't to say because I don't want to see Skeet Ulrich in these movies or anything, but the guy's dead, you know what I mean? I just find it really unusual, and out of place. But let's be fair, my favorite Friday the 13th is Jason Takes Manhattan, I am not necessarily known as a person of substance. Scream 6 is entertaining. I think the pacing in this movie works. The set pieces, the visuals, the music, the blood. It's all pretty good, I think. And sometimes schlocky horror fun is enough, Not every entry in a slasher franchise has to reinvent the genre. But when you're part of a franchise that's built on reinvention and commentary, the absence is noticeable. I do have a theory, though, about the thesis of this film. My biggest argument for it is this right here.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
I think that's the whole point of the movie.
Fuck this franchise.
Like taking fandom a bit too seriously, which is, again, piggybacking off of Scream 5. I don't know, you guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments below, because while I do enjoy it, it's got some issues.